Hello everyone, my name is Miss Sayori, and while I actually drive up here, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce. So yeah, my name is Miss Sayori. I am the #1 Ikarus player in this game. I've played this game starting like half a year ago at this point. And I've been in the last tournament, etc., etc. Hello, I play Ikarus a lot. So welcome to the very first Ikarus tutorial, at least as of 2026. I'm going to teach you the ins and out of this tank. Now, this tank, first things first, we're going to talk about some good tips and stuff and how you should probably play. And then we'll talk about the techs. Here's the tech chart. You can see all the different techs, a couple techs we don't do anymore, and how some techs can go into other techs. Now, Ikarus has the highest skill ceiling out of all the tanks because Ikarus is really difficult in general. You see, this tank has no armor and can die from basically anywhere by anything, and it flies, which means everyone can shoot you. And it's very hard to figure out how to play Ikarus where you're not going to immediately die at the start of the match and never level up your tank because, well, you're dying at the very start of the match because this thing can't stay alive. Now, first things first, you need to always keep in mind everything can penetrate. You have no armor with Ikarus. You have literally none. No matter where someone hits you, they're going to get damage. And most people do a lot of damage. So the best course of action is going in bushes like this and shooting people from a distance while you try to get energy. Even better if you're running the stealth build. But you don't want to sit there exposing yourself trying to shoot people, because you don't know where the rest of their team is, and then they can all start shooting at you and you're gonna die very fast. So when you poke up, you want to make sure you're behind enough cover where you can dip back down and you won't have to worry about people shooting you from too many angles. Bushes are always a really good safe bet, and if you're running the stealth build, a lot of the times you can basically shoot people from anywhere. So you want to be real careful on how you play Ikarus, because if not, kaboom, you're dead. That is the main tip I can give for Ikarus. The rest is just going to be trying them out and game sense. The rest is just you trying to figure them out. Now I'm going to bring up the tech chart again, since we're going to move over to the first tech I'm going to talk about now. All these techs that are on this chart have either been founded by me, which most of them were, or a couple of them were found by a dude named Drakon. You'll see him on Tier or in the Tier's Discord server. If you go in the Tier Discord server and you find him in a voice chat, he's typically in there teaching new Ikarus players how to play Ikarus and like a couple early tips and tricks. So he's there to help out the community. Now, the first thing I want to say is the couple techs in that bottom right, we don't use those anymore. Tap lift was back when you were locked in place when you activated your ability, and you could just hit your brake for a second and it'll let you keep moving, which was great to make sure no one could shoot you while you're trying to fly. Wing bounce you used to be able to do, where you would basically ram your wing into either the ground or a wall and it would bounce you off of it, and you would get a lot of speed from it as well. But after one of the updates, not only does tap lift not work anymore, but wing bounce doesn't, because now you can just move without it locking you in place. And for wing bounce, if you hit something, you're kind of just going to get tracked immediately, so you can't really wing bounce anymore. But first things first, we're going to learn flight reversal. Now, flight reversal, if you end up playing the game, you're going to see flight reversal a whole lot in this game. Basically what you do is this. You hit your ability. You know, you fly up wherever you want to fly, shoot at people, boom, 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 boom. And basically what you do is you pick up, turn around, and now you're flying backwards. And you can shoot people while flying backwards, and you can keep flying actually for a while. That is flight reversal. People typically do it because as you can see, Ikarus has 4 individual shots. You can hold down, shoot an entire volley, then you have to reload. So what people typically really like to do is shoot, fly up, shoot, turn around, and then once they reload, they can shoot them again and then land. So it lets you get off basically twice the amount of damage while you're in flight. And it's quite versatile if you use it correctly. So it's typically the Ikarus player's favorite tech to use. It's pretty easy to learn. You can look back at the video, how I just did it right there. I'll replay it right now as well. All you have to do is that, and it's pretty simple to learn. Now there's Wingshot. Wingshot is also a relatively simple tech. All it is because this game has kind of a weird physics engine, which you'll learn at some point. If you dip your wing down like this and then do that, you get a lot of speed. Basically, you dip your wing and then you kind of slingshot yourself using your wing. And it kind of cuts into the air using gravity or whatever. And it slingshots you. So that's why it's called the Wingshot. It is quite nice to just like, if you're not going to do a flight reversal or you're going into a dangerous situation and you need to back off and get a lot of speed to get away, you can like shoot people and then just whoosh, you're gone. Next up, Spiral. Now this tech just lets you stay in the air for a long time, and typically you won't use it unless you're using a stealth build. Because the stealth build lets you sit in the air and spot people without them seeing you, unless you get really, really close, and a lot of the times you can just fly over people. So I figured out if you go up in the air like this, and then you go into glide mode, you can just sit here and spin like this, and because of the physics engine, it just keeps you in the air for however long you want to be. Careful to not dip your plane's nose, by the way. But yeah, you can just sit there and spin, and as you can see, you stay in the air for a very, very long time. If you let the restoring movement go, you can basically just teleport onto the ground if you wanted to. Like, let's say someone was shooting at you, you can just, boom, you're on the ground. So it's a very, very versatile tech and very, very nice to use. Mainly for the stealth build. Because, like, my stealth build, I call it the UAV build, and I just go up in the air and spot people, and I just spin in the air. And it lets me stay in the air for, like, up to 30 seconds, just sitting there spotting people the entire time, and they don't know you're there. When you use the stealth build, your camouflage gets amplified while you're in the air. That's why no one can see you. Normally, though, you'll lose all your camouflage while you're in the air. So if you're using the other keystone that makes you fly longer, let's just say everyone's going to see you, and if you're just sitting there spinning in the air, you're probably going to get shot and die. Now, next up, we have the Up and Under. Up and Under is one of my personal favorites, because you basically can, you know, go up like this, and it's typically like if you fly by someone, then you go under, go like this, and when your wing comes up like that, you gain altitude for no reason at the very end there, and it's just a very nice, like, quick, you fly by someone, you're upside down, and then you flip back over and you get some altitude, which actually surprisingly causes a lot of people to miss their shots at you, because out of nowhere instead of flying straight, your plane lifts up for some reason as it's flipping around. So it's actually pretty nice to use in some scenarios. That is the up and under, pretty self-explanatory. So the next tech is called the Changeup. You only really would use it in certain situations, but I would say it's pretty nice to just have in your back pocket in case you ever need to use it. Basically, you go up in the air, you spin sort of like the spiral, but not quite, because unlike the spiral where you want to stay horizontal, you actually try to have your nose go really high and over. That way, as you're spinning left, all of a sudden you can like start going to the right out of nowhere. But the best way to just show you visually. So as you can see, I go up, I spin. I'm on keyboard and I'm holding A while I spin to the left. And you see my nose passes. And then I do this. And now I'm going off to the right. And it's very nice to sort of use in a situation of like... You typically use it a lot better. But let's say you're coming down and there's someone below you trying to shoot at you. You can sort of spin around their head and out of nowhere just change up, hence the name Changeup. Change up the direction you're flying. Oh, you're flying to the right now, and then you get some shots on them, land, try to finish them off. It's pretty good in some situations. I'll put up a different recording so you can sort of see how it's supposed to look, because I kind of bodged it and I'd rather not try to do it again. Next up, we have something that is similar to flight reversal, and it's called point strafe. You sort of flip around like flight reversal, but you do it in a different way. So basically, if I'm flying in this direction, there's someone on my left I want to shoot, I'll fly in this direction, turn to my right, and do an entire like 270-degree turn, and then I will be able to shoot them while flying in that direction, and then that'll keep my momentum facing straight for the most part, like so. I go up and I spin around like this. I lost all my momentum, but you get the point. I haven't done this in a while. I'll put a sandbox clip on screen while I drive back so you can sort of see what I'm talking about. It's basically you go up, you turn to the right and sort of spin around, and you're flying sideways as you're shooting at people. Now if you're asking like, why do I keep bringing up clips from Sandbox throughout this video? Well, I haven't done some of these in a little while because I've been working on other projects. So I'm a little rusty on this game, but I'm still happy to call myself the #1 Ikarus player. Next up, we have the hang switch. Now, the hang switch is actually quite the interesting one, I would say, because as the name implies, you basically hang yourself in the sky, fall back down, and you kind of do like a reverse wing shot, I guess you can say. Flip your jet around, and all of a sudden you stop all your momentum on a dime out of nowhere. And it looks like this. You see, you go up, you sort of hang yourself in the air like this, and then on your wing side you go whoop, spin around, and you can either come up like this and get a bunch of height and shoot people, or what I'll show you in a second, another way to do it, is when you fly backwards, you sort of flip around, just keeping your plane horizontal, and it will kill all your momentum. And you'll be able to, like, almost like the Changeup, you'll be able to just like flip your plane around. So like this. See how out of nowhere I just stopped going off to the left? It might be a little hard to see since I was so zoomed out. I'll put another sandbox clip. All these clips are from a while ago that I'm using as reference from whenever we first found it. Now I'm just trying to do it again while in customs. Basically, you go up in the air, come back down, and it will stop your momentum on a dime, which can throw people off, especially if they're trying to shoot at you. When you're gliding off to the left and all of a sudden your plane just stops momentum for some reason. So it's real handy to throw people off. And look at that, guys. We have one last tech, and then we'll go on to a couple bonus things. Next up is the Flingshot. Now, the Flingshot is actually kind of an interesting one. You see, most of these techs were actually found before one of the Ikarus updates. Because originally, Ikarus would go up in the air, and you would be stuck in thrust mode. You couldn't end thrust. Well, you could end thrust early, but it would just turn you back into a tank. So it was kind of annoying to use sometimes. But they updated it where if you cancel thrust, it will cancel it into the glide. And then you can cancel the glide to go back into the tank. So then you get a little more control on your flight. And it turns out, whenever they did the update, immediately Dracon figured out something called the Flingshot. The Flingshot, you dip down on your wing, like a Wingshot that you typically would do, but instead of continuing to glide, you would, at a certain moment, you would turn back into a tank, and it would like amplify your speed for some reason in Fling. As you can see here. So I go up, I dip down on my wing, and then I turn back into a tank last second, and it kind of flings me. Obviously, you can get a lot more speed than that, but that's the basis. You switch back and do a Flingshot, and you can get a crazy amount of speed. Here's another little clip so you can sort of see how fast you can really go. It can be crazy. And that, my friends, is all the current tech that at least I know of. I don't think there's anything else really. But that is all the current tech. I plan to divulge all the tech at some point, but it was kind of hard to since this game was under an NDA for a while. But anyways, we're going to go on to a bonus. Now with that new update came something interesting. You see, with the new update, Ikarus doesn't take fall damage or get tracked sometimes. Basically, if I were to go on this cliff and fall off, I would take a lot of damage, get tracked, or maybe even die. But when you're in flight and you go up really high, and then, oh look, I'm in glide mode. Let me just switch back to tank real quick. You would think because of this height I would die or at least get tracked. Nope. You take 0 damage from fall damage after you switch back from flight. So keep that in the back of your mind while you play it, because it is quite good to know. A couple more bonuses of information. Number 1, you can activate your flight ability jumping off of a mountain. You won't get that initial jump. Instead, it will like try to cancel out the speed of you falling, just, you know, physics, and then you'll fly off. So it's not that smart, but let's say you accidentally fall off a cliff and you don't want to die, but you have your ability. You would probably want to hit your ability to at least try to get that little pop off the ground or off the air if you're falling. That way you don't get tracked and you don't die. So that's another little tip. Another tip is for stealth players. Stealth players, what you mainly want to do is run in the tech tree spotting energy stuff, and with the synchronizer that makes you get more energy from spotting and people like hitting people you spotted. You will, because basically you'll fly up, spot like their entire enemy team, and anytime your ally hits an enemy, you'll basically half of your entire energy bar will get filled. And it is really great for those stealth builds, or UAV builds as I like to say, because you can just keep going up in the air and keep spotting for your entire team. It is really useful. Another tip is if you're running the fly for longer keystone, do not use it anywhere towards the start of the game. You will never use that during the start of the game. Now you may ask why. It's because if you watch the map in the bottom right, when I pop up in the air with that keystone, you can see that radius. Now everyone can basically see me and shoot me. It does not take much to spot me, and once someone does spot me, you know, the entire enemy team can see me and then kill me. So you do not want to go up in the air pretty much at all ever during the start of a match with that keystone, because with their entire team alive, they're going to see an Ikarus, someone with no armor and no health, and everyone's going to shoot at you and you're basically going to die instantly at the start of the match. So try not to use your flight until later on. Another tip I would say is if someone is coming up on you, it can be smart to use your flight, like if they're coming through here, and then fly above them, because people cannot aim high up at all. So it's kind of nice to be above them, because then you can sort of shoot them, you know, see which way they're aiming, and let's say they're aiming the other way, I'll just fly down this way, no one can really hit me, so on and so forth. So you want to be careful on how people are going to come up on you, because people are going to try to chase you. Again, you have no HP and no armor, so it's an easy kill. But the thing is, Ikarus does the most amount of damage in the game. Well, not most amount of damage, but the most amount of DPM, damage per minute, out of every tank. If you leave an Ikarus unchecked, they could just sit there firing multiple like high damage volleys at your team, and you will lose a lot of health because of Ikarus. So people tend to chase you. That means if you see someone coming up on you, don't just sit there. You need to get back to a different spot and maybe try to get go over to some teammates to help you and cover you, because they're all going to try to get you. And the second you're spotted, if you did decide to stay there and they came up, well, now you have a problem of, you know, everyone can see you now that you're spotted. You're going to die from every angle. I would say those are the basics of Ikarus, including, you know, all the current text we have. If you liked the tutorial, maybe consider liking and subscribing. I'm Miss Sayuri. I'm a creator for Tier, and I love this game. The devs are amazing, and I love Ikarus because he is the best tank. You're not going to convince me otherwise. I don't care what other tank you play. Ikarus is the best. But I hope you enjoyed, and happy hunting!